College Corner for week 6 of the college football season. Last week, another great week on the year. If you've been following me both here on YouTube and on Twitter, we're 33-19, 63% hit rate. We're up over 13 units so far on the season. Last week in the YouTube video, we were 1-2, but on the week overall, we were 6-3. So it's been a great start to the season. Want to keep that rolling. I've got 4 plays for you guys here today. Wanted to cover some of the big games as well. Again, I'll include my Twitter in the link in the description if you want to follow me there. I'm getting into some of the bigger games in the week. These are some of the first reads I have. I will definitely be adding more, but we'll have all the big games. I've got a play for Texas and Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. I have a play for Alabama and Texas A&M. I have a play for Notre Dame and Louisville. Those are 3 of the biggest games on the week. And then I also have one more for you that I really, really love. But player props, totals, sides, we've got it all. Let's get into it. First up, we'll start with a player prop, and that is in Oklahoma and Texas. Today's video, as well as every video, brought to you by our friends at props.cash. I've got a player prop for you guys. Couldn't do it without the help from them. Awesome tool they have for both college football, the NFL, they have for college basketball when it comes basically every sport, where you can filter through all sorts of different player props, see the hit rates based on the numbers that the sports books are listing, how often do they hit it. You can even filter for college football in specific. I like to filter games when teams are big favorites, or filter games when teams win or lose, or conference games, or games against specific opponents, how they've done. Awesome tool that helps me with my player props in all sports. So if you guys do want to download the app, the link will be down below. If you use promo code OwnersBox, first month is 25% off, just $15. Great tool. Guarantee you it'll be worth your money. So go check them out. But for today's player prop, again, Oklahoma, Texas, I'm going to Jaleel Farouk over 54.5 receiving yards. I really think that this Oklahoma team will need to lean on the pass here quite a bit. But first, we'll get into Farouk and some of these numbers from props.cash. He's got over in 2 of his last 3 games. He is the leader here for this team in routes run. He's ahead of both of the other 2 guys that have consistently been on the field. What I like about Farouk in particular, or about this passing offense, he's leading the team in routes run. He's second in targets with 27, 15 receptions, 285 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But what I do know about Texas is that they've proven to me that they're a very good run defense, one of the best in the country. Both Alabama and Kansas, 2 teams that want to run the football. Those are 2 teams they prove to be very good against on the run, allowing 3.9 yards per carry on the season, top 25 in stuff rate, 16th in EPA per opponent rush attempt. What I haven't seen is them be a really good pass defense. They haven't been tested quite yet against a quality passing attack. And last year, they really struggled. They were 88th in opponent EPA per pass. So I think this is for Oklahoma, somewhere they will lean on. I think they struggle to run the football. We'll need to lean on Dylan Gabriel's arm, who's looked really good in really underwhelming competition. 74.5% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns on the year, 10.1 yards per attempt. My only concern, I was thinking about playing Gabriel over passing yards, but he's had a lot of turnover-worthy plays, 7 on the year. He's kind of struggled there. Sorry, he hasn't struggled there because those haven't actually materialized. He's only thrown 2 interceptions. Texas is a team that could expose that, and they've got Jackson Arnold on the bench. I wouldn't be shocked if somehow he gets into this game if Gabriel struggles. So I want to go with a receiver because I think Oklahoma will have to throw the ball quite a bit, and Farouk is that number 1 guy always on the field for this team. So I like him to go over 54.5 receiving yards. Next up, we'll go to Alabama and Texas A&M. Bama on the road here. I was actually sitting to the fire on Saturday night watching Notre Dame do the game close out, and I was looking at the look-ahead lines, and Bama was a 7-point favorite in this game, and I'm pissed at myself for not betting it because this game is down to like 1.5. I don't know if there's going to be some injury news that maybe comes out in this game that surprises us, but in this game in particular, I like the under. 46.5. It's been coming down a little bit, so make sure you lock this in as quickly as you can. But I think these defenses match up fantastically for what these offenses want to do. For A&M on defense, their biggest weakness is against the pass. Miami torched them early on in the season. They haven't really seen a quality passing attack since, so we don't know if they're going to really be any better. But the good thing is for them is Alabama, they have not thrown the ball well at all this year. They started with Jalen Milroe, went to Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner. Those 2 didn't show much of anything. So that's a good sign that I don't think Jalen Milroe will be able to expose what this biggest weakness is defensively, because Milroe can't really attack those intermediate areas of defenses and secondaries. Bama ran the ball in over 71% of plays against Mississippi State because this is what they want their identity to be, is run the football. And it's really hasn't been all that effective, but for A&M, that's been really good for them defensively. They've been really good against the run. They got studs in that front 7. That's what all of that recruiting prowess comes from, is some really good players, especially in the front 4. Top 20 in EPA per rush, top 20 in stuff rate. They're allowing just 4 yards per carry. And Bama, like, as much as they want to run it, they haven't been that good. 77th in EPA per rush. They're not running that efficiently. Like Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, these guys are seniors at the running back position. They do not have a lot of talent. This team can move the ball. They're not going to move it that quickly. They're not going to move it that efficiently. I like A&M there. And then for Alabama, on their defensive side, A&M wants to lean on the pass. Now, they have Max Johnson coming in now because of the injury to Connor Wegman, and Johnson's been putting the ball in harm's way. He's got 4 turnover-worthy plays in just 1.5 games. His 5.3% turnover-worthy play rate is 125th in the country. Look, I don't know if they're going to be willing to trust him as much as they have in these, the game and a half they've played him, because the Alabama secondary, elite. Goulet McKinstry, Moore, Key, there's so much talent in the secondary, and they've been top 10 in EPA against the pass so far this year. But for A&M, they haven't run it that well. 83rd in EPA per rush. So I think these two head coaches, both Jimbo and Saban, will lean on their defenses, take care of the football. They both play relatively slow, and I think they're going to struggle offensively. I think this is a really low-scoring game, so give me the under in this one. Next up, we head to our night game here, prime time, Notre Dame at Louisville. I like Notre Dame -6 in this one. The Irish have yet another ranked matchup they got to get up for. But for me, this is one that I don't think will be the same test as the others have been, and obviously Ohio State and Duke. Louisville struggled mightily last week against NC State, and their defense, they scored just 13 points in a win. We actually had NC State to cover there, plus 3.5, which was nice. But Notre Dame put up 45 on that NC State defense. Like, they did not have trouble scoring on them. And I think Hartman's going to have plenty of time to operate in the pocket. For Louisville, the problem I had for them going into the year, and it's materialized throughout the year, is they just don't generate a lot of pressure, haven't generated many sacks, 121st in sack rate, 99th in pressure rate, even coming off a game against NC State where they managed to find some success against a really poor offensive line. They still aren't putting up good numbers. So I think this offensive line for Notre Dame, which is really, really talented with Joel leading the way to dominate the line of scrimmage. Louisville's not making a lot of plays in the backfield. I think even with the rushing game and Audric Estime should be efficient there as well. And offensively for Louisville, again, the competition has just been brutal. Like, you can't really measure how good this Louisville team is. I think they're the most overrated, undefeated team in the country. Georgia Tech, Murray State, Indiana, Boston College, NC State. That's a schedule that just isn't very good. Indiana, they beat by 7 points as well. And for Jack Plummer, who's come in, I love Jeff Brom. He's taking, I think he's elevating a roster that doesn't have a lot of talent, and because he's such a great coach and great play caller. But I think he's going to be a little bit overwhelmed with how good of a defense this is from Notre Dame. Plummer's got 6 interceptions already on the year, 95th in turnover-worthy play rate. He has been a little iffy for this team, and Notre Dame's got a top 20 pass defense. Very good team. I love their defense. It's what they've ridden throughout the season. We've seen these games go really low, finish with really low totals. The last 2 against Ohio State and Duke, both those teams scored less than 20 points, right? So I think that'll be the case for Louisville as well. But instead for Notre Dame, I think they find a lot of success offensively, and I think they win this game big on the road. Last one, and currently my favorite play of the weekend right now, Colorado State -3 at Utah State. I know it's a little scary taking a couple of road favorites, but these are two teams that are throwing the ball a ton. They're both top 10 in pass rate on the season. The thing is, Colorado State, great passing attack, 9.1 yards per attempt, top 20 in the country. The other, Utah State, 70th in the country in yards per attempt, 7.6 yards. And Utah State dealing with a lot of injuries. This is a program that's had a ton of turnover from last season. I think they have 40 new scholarship players. But I saw last week they had 2 redshirt freshmen starting on their offensive line, and they had new corner and new safety come in for last week's game against UConn because of injuries. And this is a Utah State team that on its own, has not been able to generate a lot of pressure defensively either. So what I think the problem will be here is they've got a lot of new guys in their secondary, and then defensively they haven't been able to generate much pressure either in their front four. 120th in pressure rate on the season, and then opponents are completing over 64% of their passes. So I think there should be a lot of success offensively for Colorado State, as it already is. But offensively for Utah State, they've been going between 3 different quarterbacks. Cooper Legau's back in after sitting the last couple of weeks. He was benched, but then injury to the quarterback with a concussion, so he is back in. And Colorado State's defense can cause a ton of problems for Utah State's offense. They're 107th in pressure rate, Utah State is, 86th in sack rate, so they haven't protected very well. And Colorado State, Mohamed Kamara, I don't know if you remember him from that game against Colorado a few weeks ago. He has 5.5 sacks already on the season. This defense is averaging over 3 sacks a game, top 40 in pressure rate. So I think the pass game will really be a struggle for Utah State, and Colorado State should have plenty of time to be able to move the ball offensively and put up some points. So I'm going to take them to cover 3 points on the road. All right, those are 4 of my favorite plays heading into week 6 of the college football season. Again, if you guys are looking for more, drop me a follow on Twitter. I'll include that in the link in the description. And as well, if you enjoyed today's video, if we've been making some money throughout this season so far, riding with some of these plays, hit that like button. Would appreciate it if you subscribed as well. Let me know that I should keep doing this content throughout the season. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.